Good afternoon and welcome to this special happy hour edition of the Foreign Desk podcast. I'm Lisa Daftari. Over the last 9 months, we have watched a pandemic destroy our nation, leaving us with fear for our health as we watch the death toll climb. We've been warned to stay home. Businesses have been shut. Schools have been closed. Human interaction has become obsolete. But there's an entire side of this destruction that is not given the proper platform it deserves. The side of this pandemic and the shutdowns, its effect on the economy, the devastation, the suicides, the bankruptcies, the homelessness, the fear that we will not recover, the fear that we will never be the same again. On this show, we usually cover foreign policy and national security. Today, we will speak about an issue that has affected millions of Americans here at home, probably the most pressing national security story right now, affecting our well-being, safety, security, and prosperity. During this week, many of you may have seen the compelling video of Sherman Oaks, California bar and grill owner Angela Marsden, who describes the frustration of so many business owners devastated by recent shutdowns. Let's take a look.
I'm losing everything. Everything I own is being taken away from me. And they set up a movie company right next to my outdoor patio, which is right over here. And people wonder why I'm protesting and why I have had enough. They have not given us money and they have shut us down. We cannot survive. My staff cannot survive. Look at this. Tell me that this is dangerous, but right next to me as a slap in my face,
And she's here with us today, Angela Marsden, owner of Pineapple Hill Saloon and Grill, advocate for small businesses and the people they employ. And you can add to that now, viral video star. Angela, thank you so much for accepting this invitation to be here with us today. I know you have had a very long and difficult week. I can see it in your face, and I know that it's probably very difficult to keep watching this video over and over again. How are you feeling right now?
Every time I see it, it obviously brings up the moment, but really the situation that we're living in right now, not just for me, but for all small business owners and for their employees and for our society. I mean, I really believe that this is a humanitarian crisis. I don't know why it was my video that went viral. I didn't ask for that. I didn't ask to be this person in this position, but I do believe that there's a reason for everything. And I really am trying to bring awareness to all people about what is about to happen, about what is really going on and where we're going to be in 3 or 4 months if we as people do not start uniting together and really fighting and helping each other to survive through this instead of hiding and blaming each other and attacking each other. I am up and down. It's been honestly, I'm grateful I've been reached out from all over the world, and I'm blown away, and it is inspiring, and it gives hope that we can all come together and start unifying. It's been hard. It's been hard.
Yeah, and I can answer your question for you. Your video went viral because you were so sincere, compelling, emotional, and you really hit on the heartstrings of people who may have not thought about the reality from your perspective, and so many people that are in your position. I want to walk our viewers through some of the facts here before we get into the emotional side of it, but more of the facts, because you're in Los Angeles, I'm in Los Angeles, but people may not know how hard hit we have been here in Los Angeles, and not so much because of the pandemic, but because of the way that it's been handled by our mayor, our governor, the decisions they have made for us. It's turned people against each other. Someone screamed at me on the street telling me to put a mask on my 1-year-old child. This is the reality that
I've literally had people wishing I would die or my staff would get COVID and I would choke on it. Like I've had a handful of those and millions of support. But to what you're saying, and not to interrupt you, but I truly firmly believe that 20 years from now, we are going to look back and we are going to hurt from the deaths of COVID, but we are going to realize that COVID, this invisible enemy, really just pitted us against each other and destroyed our economy and our way of life from the inside out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you've been a business owner for 10 years. You've owned the Pineapple Hill Saloon and Grill.
Yeah.
So like so many other business owners, you were devastated the first time around where we shut down. And, I'm sure like everyone else, you said, this is necessary. Everyone's
Right.
going through it. And then
I'm a small business owner and the thing is a small business owner, I'm a one-woman shop. You're not doing it to be a millionaire. You're doing it because it's what you love, but also because you love people. I love my community and the people that come into my pub. They are my family and my staff. You love people. Every small business owner I know, especially in the beginning, was willing to go above and beyond with everything that they had because they care for people. We are the ones that do the charities, sponsor the baseball teams, know your name. Like, we care.
Right.
So yeah, I still to this day, if we were to open tomorrow, I would do all the precautions I did, because if it keeps one person that I love from getting sick, it matters.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. And so let's keep going with that. So you shut down, then
Yes.
here in Los Angeles, we were able to open up restaurants with outdoor space. So then what did you do?
Well, it was, it's like the Twilight Zone. Every day it's changing and it's new rules, and you get 24-hour notice or you get 1-day notice. So, they had finally let us go back inside to limited capacity. I had spent thousands of dollars with plexiglass booth dividers and plexiglass everywhere. And I put in a to-go window so the air would circulate and fans. And then they shut us down in July. And I literally knew, because I had done takeout, I was losing 90% of my revenue, but I wanted to open then because I wanted to keep some of my staff employed. I wanted to connect with the community. And I also was fundraising to do food to the hospitals.
Wow.
But I was losing so much money. So this time when they shut us down from the inside and said we had to go outdoors, I didn't know if I could get the landlord to let me go outdoors. But my bookkeeper said, if we go back to go, we've got to quit. So I fought really hard. My landlord worked with me. And that alone, just having to, tar your own parking lot and beg friends and pay cheap labor if you could find it, and feeling guilty that you were even asking for it. And I think one of the worst things was literally going on Facebook and scouring off businesses, restaurants that had closed and hadn't made it because so many weren't allowed to open because they didn't have food, or they didn't make it through the first part. And that broke my heart. There was a gentleman, we drove 45 minutes to get used outdoor patio furniture, and he was in the hospital and he was older and he couldn't make it through COVID and had to close something he'd had for years in his family. And that was just heartbreaking. But I kept saying, keep your head down, just survive, as I'm hearing all my, tattoo parlors, hairdressers, other bars just not opening and going under. And I'm feeling bad. I'm crying every time I hear it, but I'm like, just survive is what you're thinking at the time. And
Right.
so I pushed through it. And I will say I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the community, because I wanted to give up. There are days of tears and breaking down and going, why am I doing this? Because I'm using loan money that's going to be gone. And if it doesn't work, I'm losing everything anyway. Why don't I just stop and take a break? Because, I haven't had a break since day one. And, but the neighborhood would drive by and they would honk. I tell this story and I know I tell it over and over, but this one woman was jogging by with her earbuds on, and she stops and she looks, and she literally is like, yes. And she's clapping. Thank you for keeping the neighborhood together, as I'm building the patio,
Amazing.
So we got it done. And that I would say, with the exception of this month, was the hardest month, one of the hardest months of this whole year. And we opened up to August, which was in LA, because you're from here, a heat wave.
Mm-hmm.
So people were trying to come out, but obviously we still took a loss in August. We still took a loss in September. And then October came and we were busy. And we were known as one of the safest, well done places to go for COVID, and that I wore that like a badge of honor. I mean, we took temperatures, we wore gloves, we wore face shields, masks, you know, tables are more than 6 feet apart. And we enforced the masks, I would be a pain in the butt. Somebody would get up from the table and be like, get your mask on.
Yeah, because who wants that on their conscience to have a business where people aren't being safe? So obviously, anybody who has a small business, who has, who wants to open back up, is not going to take those risks like you did yourself.
Right. I mean, can you imagine? My place has been here since 1978. I'm the third owner, and my kitchen staff is the same staff from 1978.
Wow.
So I have older kitchen staff. Josefina, who, she has diabetes. I also have clients that have been coming and sitting in the same booth since the 80s, and they're older. And then I have a mix of trendy kind of trying to be, actors and starlets coming in at night. So I was very, very careful. I do not want somebody I love to get sick because of me. So yeah, we were doing it well. And I knew we were doing it well, knock on wood, because I personally, I have tuberculosis. It's suppressed. I'm not supposed to be out in the public. I've been out since day one, but knock on wood, I didn't get it. I haven't gotten it because I take the precautions,
Thank
and
God.
yeah, and thank God, knock on wood. And if I get it, I know I'm taking that risk, but you have to live life.
Right. No,
And
because it's
whatever's
not
meant to
no.
be. Right. What? Go ahead.
I was just going to say you'll suffer from many other things, and that's the whole point of this conversation, to say,
Right.
young
Right.
people who are out and about are taking a certain risk. But I mean, and then goes to the next point: what risks are being calculated by those in the position of making?
Risk. Yes. Yes.
Right.
Like,
So
why aren't we paying the vulnerable to stay home and
right.
paying them well enough that they can be okay, be comfortable, while the rest of us, knowing what our risks are, move the economy along? I mean, this seems like simple stuff that even a high school student could figure out. So I'm really confused as to what's going on with Mayor Garcetti and Gavin Newsom and our leaders here, because this is not brain science. I don't think, it's complicated. It involves emotions, but it's risk management.
Right. And to that, let me catch everybody up with where we were going with that. So you spent all this money, all of
Yeah.
your time and resources to create the outdoor space, which was now mandated. And then fast forward to Thanksgiving Eve. I think it was the Monday before the Wednesday of Thanksgiving Eve, where it was announced, the mandate was announced that no outdoor, no indoor dining or outdoor dining. Restaurants will effectively be closed for, dining in. So
it was shocking.
Right.
It was gut wrenching. It was literally on a Monday, we were told we had to shut down on a Wednesday night. And you're talking the night before Thanksgiving.
One of the busiest nights of the year, right?
Busiest night of the year, the night before Thanksgiving, and then also Thanksgiving is a very busy day. And I spoke with my bookkeeper, and he just said, look, we can't do, because I thought, well, we could still do to go. And he said, no, he goes, if we do to go, we won't be here. We won't make it. He said, with the numbers of cases climbing, he's very much on his numbers. He said, the way I'm seeing it, we could be like this for another 3 months. And if we do to go, we will never reopen again. And what little money we have left, which is still a loan, we have to preserve so that we can open when we're allowed to go out.
Yeah. And
I mean, mind you, I haven't paid rent. I'm 60,000 behind in rent. I've tried to pay here and there, but it's a lot,
It's a lot.
So
it's a lot.
it was hard. And I think the hardest part is, talking to your staff and telling them, look, guys, get on unemployment, get back on the unemployment that you were on. Some of them have never gotten it. They can't get through the paperwork of it and get it, and then others, they have a week left, like Lindsay, who's my right hand girl, has a little boy and she's like crying, I'm scared, my unemployment's out next week, and nothing's been resolved with that.
No,
So it
and
was
such a sensitive time of the year, right? So for you guys, this
right.
is a huge season for you with the holiday parties and people having time off from work, and being able to come and enjoy their time at a grill, at a bar. Especially here in Southern California, we have outdoor dining almost the whole year.
It's beautiful out right now.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so that was really, really hard. And I kind of went through this moment of, I'm from Indiana. I've been in LA 28 years, and my mom said, just give it up, come home, stay
Right.
with us, live with us, and get on your feet out here. And I hadn't been home, and I miss my dad. He's older. He's had a couple of bouts of pneumonia. So, I thought maybe she's right. I should just go home for a couple of weeks and reevaluate at the first of the year. And then I got up and I was so depressed, and I went to it was Black Friday. I went to the mall. I didn't know they were open. I literally didn't know they were open. And then I was like, oh, wow, Macy's is open. And then I go to Macy's and the whole mall is open.
Right.
And I'm just walking around getting angrier and angrier. And I'm like, this is an indoor mall. Nobody's taking my temperature, no face shields, no gloves. I'm allowed to try on anything.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I was like, what? And I just decided in that moment, everybody I know is bailing out of California.
Mm-hmm.
But why do I have to leave? Why don't they get out? Why don't the people that don't know what they're doing
Right.
and are ruining our state get out? Why do I have to go? So I called my mom. I said, Mom, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if people will hate me and protest me because they think I don't believe in COVID or I don't care. But I have to stay and tell the truth. Like, somebody's got to stand up and tell the truth of what my staff is going through, what my fellow business owners are going through, what their staff is going through. I have to at least speak out, start speaking out and telling the truth. And that was the Friday, actually, before this happened. So before, I was afraid to post anything, because I was afraid people would think I didn't care
No,
about
but isn't
COVID
that
and about people being sick,
but that's just California. But that's just California, and more specifically Los Angeles, where
Yeah.
why do you have to be afraid of talking and speaking the truth? And why can't it be both? Yes, there's a virus, but yes, we need to live. We need to pay
Right.
our rent. We need to not commit suicide. We need to not file bankruptcy.
Right. And so I was planning a protest in front of Sheila Kula's house with friends. I had never protested in my life. I've never been to a protest, but I was thinking about how can I speak out?
Why don't you can you remind our viewers who she is and why her specifically?
Sheila Kula was the deciding vote on the Board of Supervisors, who vocally, I mean, from what I understand, she thinks we should be shut down completely until everybody's vaccinated. But she publicly said it was the most dangerous thing to go out and do outdoor dining. But then the very same moment after she got done shutting us down, she went and ate at her favorite restaurant that she's eaten at every single day since they've been outdoors.
Right.
And of course, it got caught on the news. And again, that's the other thing, the hypocrisy that we've been living under, from Gavin Newsom's winery that has never been closed in Southern California is still open.
Right.
And him going and eating out when we're not supposed to be eating out. I mean, it's just constantly thrown in your face,
And I love how you have time and again, reiterated how it's not about, the film crew that was across the lot.
No.
And it's not about the mall, and it's not about, but it is about just one word, the hypocrisy of all of this. I want you to take a listen. Gavin Newsom yesterday was approached at a briefing he gave regarding small businesses, and this is what he had to say.
I'm a small business owner. I started right out of college, put pen to paper, opened a small business with one part-time employee. It was the cause of my life. I deeply recognize people's pain and suffering at this moment, their dreams being shattered because of this pandemic. So you ask me how I feel. It devastates me to know, because I intimately understand what it means when you put everything on the line. You leverage everything. Your family, your dreams are on the line. And through no fault of your own, something global, a pandemic hits and creates all of these constraints and all these constructs that are devastating to your life and your prospects for the future.
So, I would like to respond to that. And I would like to say, Mr. Newsom, here's what the people of California think and small businesses. They recognize that there's a pandemic, and we empathize with all your compassion. So we deeply, deeply ask that you close your winery, you give back the $3 million in PPP that you got, and you take no salary until we are able to recoup and work again. And if you are devastated by this, I'm sure you will be more than happy to do these things to show us that you are really in it with us. And by the way, tell the lobbyists that you obviously are supporting that they have to close Costco, maybe leave the grocery stores open so we can eat, but TJ Maxx gets to close and the mall gets to close. If you really, really believe what you say, then your actions must speak louder than your words. And we're waiting to see those actions, and we have not seen them. Meanwhile, we are starving and losing everything. So don't give me fake condolences and options that are fantasy, like stay at home, for the other 50% of us that actually cannot stay at home. That's what I would say to Mr. Newsom.
And I hope he's listening to you, because
sorry,
so beautifully said.
I didn't see that. That just is like, wow.
Right.
Wow.
Right. It's one of the most, and I've been in touch with your assistants all week, and I call them your assistants, but they're actually, they said it so beautifully. We're bartenders turned into media liaisons, which is amazing. But thankfully, and I'm never happy to get, pushed back for an interview, but with your case, I was, because I knew that you kept going on more and more, important media platforms, telling your story. Kate, and I don't know if I should really call her out. I'll stop with that and say,
that's fine. That's fine.
Who said to me, we had such a long conversation. We might be friends after this. She said to me,
"Great. I hope so. You come down and have a beer, because we're going to be here."
I would love to. I will take you up on that. She said something so touching, and she said, we don't want to make this into a political thing.
No.
But she said, and we became more and more transparent towards one another. She said, I am a raging progressive liberal, but I support Angela because she is fighting for me. And, I just got goosebumps, and I said, Kate, you have to come on too. This is the story.
Yeah.
The fact that
the story is it's not about politics, it's about people, and we are all in this together. And I think we've spent so much time in the last 4 years, 3 years, 2 years fighting each other, and it's united we stand. A friend of mine that I talked to, he's in Tennessee, and when I talk to him in the morning sometimes to try to get centered, and he was telling me, somebody from the Indian community or somewhere he had read that, the bird is made up of the body and 2 wings, and without one wing, the bird cannot fly, and so, no, I'm not mad at the production companies. They need to eat. And if there are politicians, Republican or Democrat, that are willing to actually get down in the mud with us and come up with realistic ideas to save our economy, and, because you're right, we have suicides, we have overdoses. I don't care what party they're from, and nor should any of us, because we are headed into a very scary thing, and we need all Americans loving each other and looking out for each other, you know.
Right.
And that touches my heart that she said that, you
Yeah,
know.
no,
It's
I
the
mean,
truth.
it is the truth, and you're fighting for all of them, and you have been from day one. And she gave me, many other examples of the wonderful work you've done for your staff, and the advocacy you're doing for so many people. And I actually want to go further than this, Angela. It's not political, and I get that. I get it because you're speaking from a human place, and I think that if we can all put our politics aside, we could then acknowledge what's right and what's wrong, without sounding, for example, in Beverly Hills, they voted unanimously to reopen restaurants. The city
Yeah.
council met. And the next morning, I went on Twitter just to see what's going on, and these are the tweets that people actually posted. Selfish human beings, brats without any conscience. I'm not surprised at all that this selfish, entitled area of Los Angeles needs to eat at restaurants despite thousands dying every day. Human garbage. I mean, it goes on and on and on. I hope you die. Awful, awful things. Everyone looked at it from the place, just so negatively, instead of saying, well, they went to bat for those restaurant owners and their employees. They went to bat for these small businesses that will not be able to get back up on their feet after the pandemic. How did we get to a place where it's American versus American? Either you think we have to shut down or we're going to die, and if you think we should reopen, it's because you don't care about people dying from a pandemic. There's no. And then one side will accuse the other side of not believing in science, but then the science behind restaurant closures is about 3%.
Yeah, the science shows we should be open, which is
Right.
crazy. I mean, if we had to go before a judge in order to get total transparency, the science showed it's 3.1% of bars and restaurants. It didn't even say outdoor. It said bars and restaurants are contributing to spreading COVID. And of that 3.1%, the majority was made of fast food restaurants who had their employees getting infected because they're standing so close to each other at the to-go window.
Right. Right.
So how did we get here? I don't know, but we're here. And, my mom said, my mom worked her whole life in a bread factory in Indiana, and she worked so hard to give me a life and to get that retirement, and she's doing well. And I was talking to her, I said, Mom, I've had death threats, and I said, but I can't stop. And, I hope anything that I'm doing is going to make a difference. And you know what she said? She said, Angela, when things are really, really hard, she said, and they're always going to be hard, things are going to come. You have to give people hope and faith, and you got to keep going. And if you keep going, change will happen. And all I am trying to say to people is stop judging each other and stop fighting each other, because somewhere along the way, I don't know if it's the politicians or the media, or it's just that we live in this fast food world where everything is, nobody, do you even know the talking point that you're arguing about? Did you actually look up what the law says? Did you actually look up the statistic? This, I don't know if I've already said it, but I truly, truly believe that this COVID experience will be what we look back and see where it literally has destroyed us from the inside out by pitting us against each other and not having common sense. And I'm hoping that I can move the giant, yes, in getting California open, or getting leaders to actually start thinking with their heart, and having think tanks and doing things in a risk assessment way. But mainly, I keep talking to give hope and encouragement to people out there that are hurting and suffering, that you're not alone, and that there are people fighting, and you got to hold on, and you got to have hope. You have to have faith, and you have to start asking for help, and have to start helping your neighbor. Like, all you have to do is talk to your small businesses that you go to, call them up and ask them how they're doing. And the small business owner needs to be like me. Stop putting on a face that you're strong and say, in the service industry, which a lot of us working, the 50% of us in the service industry, our job is to service. So we're the last persons to ask for help. I mean, we're dying before we ask for help, i.e., I'm learning this about myself via what came out in the video. I didn't even realize I said help, And so people don't know, because we don't ask because we're so busy helping, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what it will take to bring this country back to it being about people and kindness, and what's great about America is we're all different. And that's
Yeah.
what's great about it.
Yes.
You can love who you want, you can believe what you want, you can be from anywhere around the world, but you're still in this big family. And families, they fight. We all go to holidays, you fight, and you have the weird Uncle Ricky, and you have the weird, you have all these things. But at the end of the day, the core value is we help each other. And when times of crisis come, we just stand up and we get through it together. And that's what we need. We need our country in our little communities to, our little communities can help themselves. And a lot of communities around the country are doing that,
Right.
so hope. I'm trying to give people hope and faith and
Mhm.
the
Has
humanity I've seen in donations and just people
Mhm.
driving hours just to say hi and give me a $20 bill. I mean, 3 hours. My security guy is this big tough guy, Tom. He's got this dark black beard, and he's like, I'm a night guy, and he had tears in his eyes. A gentleman came and spoke to him from hours away. I think he gave him $50, and he walked in. He goes, Ange, I lost faith in humanity. He's like, for the first time in my life, I have hope in
Amazing.
humans. We are capable of incredible love and empathy and giving. And, we were in this mode of survival because we've been pitted against each other. And when you're in survival mode, fear takes over and everybody's me, 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 me.
Mhm.
But if we just start giving, saying, how can I help? How can I help? How can I help? We will slowly rise the tide, and we may have a chance to get through this. It's still going to be dark and hard. But if we don't stop what we're doing, there won't be anything left to come back to once we come out of the house,
Right. Right. Has there been any point through this, or you've been scared or regret putting all this out there?
I, when this all happened, actually the week before, I went to my first protest just to see what it was like. And I ended up on the news there. I was in front of Barbara Ferrera's house. And that morning I woke up and there was a snippet of what I said, like a very little bit of what I said was on the news. And then before that was all the COVID numbers and the deaths. And then there's me. And I woke up crying, and I started crying. I called my best friend in Indiana, and I mean, I'm not kidding. I said, Kathy, maybe I'm doing the wrong thing. I don't know what I'm doing, but I got to tell the truth. I don't know why. I just feel that I have to start telling the truth, and I got to let people know, but I'm scared. I'm scared that I'm going to lose friends. I'm scared that I'm going to have somebody boycott my business. I'm scared that, I don't know what to say. Like now, even in this whirlwind, I literally am breathing and I'm just saying, universe, God, Buddha, whatever you believe in, please just let me say the right things because I don't know what I'm doing, So there are moments where I'm breaking down crying, and I'm crying from the generosity and the gratitude, and then I'm crying because I'm afraid. I talked to my mom, and I said, Mom, I'm not coming back for Christmas. I can't. And I said, for the most part, everybody's been wonderful. She's like, well, I'm afraid of, you got to keep doing what you're doing, but I want you to be safe. And I said, yeah, I've had some crazy people threaten me, but I said, at the end of the day, if something were to happen to me, just know that I'm going out doing the right thing, and I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's okay. And I'm not trying to be over dramatic, but just know how much I love you. And I'm doing this because of you, because she just raised me to be like, so tell the truth no matter what. And like, the truth always wins. And So my heart and my soul, I can't not, but it's not easy. It's very, very difficult, and I hope and pray that I say and I do the right thing for anybody out there,
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's definitely been a whirlwind, and I still don't even know, is this my 5 minutes of fame, fine, but I'm going to do the right thing with it,
Well, you certainly have. I think so many people are drawn to you and your story because you're the voice for the masses. And that's always the case. When you hear someone on TV and you start nodding your head because that person is singing, to your heart and saying the words
Oh,
that you wish
thank
you
you.
could say. And I'm always baffled by those who would threaten someone like you, because if you don't want to go to a restaurant, don't go to one. But
Right.
allow those who want to, again, calculate the risk, to be able to do that and to go and support people like yourself and other small businesses. For those who are not from Los Angeles, I know that it's the same in cities like New York City or Chicago or Philadelphia. It looks like a war zone here in Los Angeles. It is the saddest thing.
Listen, Lisa, this is a slow buildup of literally, because like I'm a neighborhood pub, so everybody comes in and tells me everything about what's going on with them. Slowly throughout the year, another bar owner in tears, losing everything, another hairstylist not knowing what they're going to do, another tattoo parlor who is facing misdemeanor charges and $10,000 fine and going out of state trying to work to save a business that he can't sell. Another bartender, server, we were always a big place for the bartenders, the servers, and the barbacks to come after work. And it's so hard hearing that. And then you're trying to survive, and then you feel almost guilty because you're surviving. And then on top of that, the homeless is doubled. So it's like I had a homeless guy jump through my to-go window. I had a homeless girl running around the corner. She looked newly homeless, screaming that she'd been raped and
Oh
beaten
my
with a
God.
belt. And I sat for 4 hours trying to get the police or the mental health department out. Finally, the police came out because I threatened to sue them, because the only address she had was the hotel room and the name and the phone number of the people that had done it to her for drugs. And
Wow.
she had no family, and she's like, well, I guess the police aren't going to believe me anyway, they're not going to take me. And I told the police when they came, at least take her to the hospital and give her a rape kit. I know she's homeless, I know she's using drugs, I know she's schizophrenic, but the woman, I believe her, she needs help. They said, okay, we've dealt with her before. They took her around the corner, and I was like, thank God, because this is in front of my outdoor patio. It's COVID. I got to keep I have a responsibility to my customers as well. And I'm going to go in, and I'm exhausted from my day, and this whole thing was very traumatic for me. And the lights go off, the truck leaves. I'm like, thank God they're gone. She comes running around the corner. They left her here. They didn't even take her. And I had to put her in a cab back to that place because I had nowhere else to put her.
Yeah.
I cried for 3 days. I had PTSD for 3 days. I'm a woman. How can I, as a woman, do that? But I had no choice for my business. And it is like when you say a war zone, that's the other reason. And it's funny, not very many people put it the way you just did, but it is like a war zone. I have a bartender friend who lives in Granada Hills, great neighborhood. Her son, she actually protested with me. She helped me organize the protest. Her son was robbed at gunpoint in their front yard. Like, what's
My
going
God.
on?
Right. So again, for the viewers who might not be familiar with this area, we've been devastated. So the first time we closed down, then there were the protests, the looting, the rioting, the burning down of
Oh
businesses.
yeah, I had to board up my windows, and when we were allowed to go inside, I couldn't really even open because we were on curfew.
Right. We were on curfew, and then we had the second shutdown, and no help, no support by the mayor
None,
here, none by the
none.
governor. Your story is so compelling, and now that you tell me your roots and your mother had such an influence on you, you come from a working class background.
Yeah.
I'm the daughter of immigrants, so my
Wow.
thing is I will fight for this country. I believe in capitalism. I believe in the American dream, and I will do
And
whatever it
we
takes.
appreciate you.
And it seems like there's so many people, and they always have a story. But what do you think? I mean, we say it's not political, but it has to be. The mayor, the governor, they're not flipping coins and making these decisions arbitrarily. Should we close restaurants or not close them? What gives? What is driving these decisions in your mind?
I don't want to speculate because I wouldn't want to misstep or say something that would create fear or panic and I don't want people to miss the message because I truly believe that I have friends that are on the Democratic side that are calling me and going, we're not happy with this either. We want them out
Sure,
too. So
sure.
I truly believe that there are two extremes going on, and that in the middle are the heart of this country and the regular people that are being trampled on. And a lot of us work and we don't have time to go out and protest and do this and that. But now is a time where we have to start standing up and fighting. And both sides have got to get rid of the corporate politicians that are taking money. And we got to clean house and we got to put people in office that have heart. I try not to go down the conspiracy theories and the things that are happening, but when you're experiencing it from my level, it's very hard not to believe that they don't know what they're doing because, like I said, I don't have a big PhD or a fancy degree and I can figure it out. Common sense can figure it out. So it's either one of two things. They are so far detached in their ivory towers. They literally do not know what they're doing, which seems impossible to me. Or there's another motive. And what that motive is, I do not know. But either one is criminal. Either one
Right.
is criminal. So it doesn't there all that matters is we get them out and we start giving our leaders, putting leaders in that are for our people. Get rid of lobbying money, put shorter term limits. I don't know. I will figure it out. If I don't know it, I will find people that know how to do it and we will figure it out. But the new DA that they just hired, I'm
Oh God.
afraid.
You know what?
I'm
Yeah,
afraid.
as you're telling the story of this young woman who was raped and not picked up, I'm thinking, okay, exactly what you're saying. New DA wants to get rid of bail. They want to defund the police. There
He
is
just did.
such
He got rid of bail and he also got rid of a felony charge for minors. So if you go and kill your parents or you kill somebody now, you cannot you what, you could get 2 years in juvie?
right.
Like I don't even know how this person got voted in. Like how did he end up there? I don't know. I really don't know, but it's already bad. I mean,
Right.
when I went to Barbara Farrer's house, I don't know if you've been to Echo Park
Mhm.
lately.
Not lately.
Okay. Around the lake, I hadn't been either. And I have a son. I lived out here as a single parent. My son's older now, but I raised him in that area when it was considered the ghetto. And it was awesome. Tent to tent to tent to the
Oh my God.
whole lake is surrounded by a tent village. And some of the tents look like an elaborate apartment in the middle of a pandemic. And this is at the bottom of the public health official, Barbara Ferrero's house. She drives by this every single day. Isn't her job mental health and addiction?
Right.
So to my surprise, I was there at the protest, and yeah, there were a lot of people from Beverly Hills and a lot of people that were anti-mask or this or that, and I'm there for a very specific reason, but it's also the first time I ever protested, and they're the only ones standing up for us. So like I, I had a liberal friend say, "Oh, your aim is off and you're going down the wrong road." And I'm like, "Look, if you want to start protesting on my behalf, I'll join you too. But I got to go with people that are trying to help me."
Right.
So this Hispanic girl showed up and beautiful girl. And I said, "Hi, I'm Angela. I have a pub in the Valley. Why are you here?" And she said, "I live in Echo Park. I grew up here." I said, "Oh, wow." And she goes, "Yeah. And I heard you guys were here and I had to come." And I go, well, what is your message? And what are you here? Why did it, incite you to come? And she said, have you seen my hometown? She said, have you seen the homelessness and the shambles that my hometown is? My whole family's from here. And when you guys came, I felt so excited. I felt so good that I had to come and join you. So and this is why I say it's not about politics, it's about people.
Right.
People are hurting. And this is our city. Why do we have to move? Why do we have to leave? Why don't they get out and give
Because
us our beautiful state back? You know what I mean?
Right. No, because they have created a two-tier system where they are above it. They create the problems and other people
And
have
we
to live
live
with
it.
them. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
As you said, all these areas like Brentwood, 10 to 10. I mean, these people must drive by there.
Unbelievable.
These
I
are
mean, I had a couple, you're going to laugh. I had a couple actually on my patio that lived in Hancock Park, and they had to drive through Hollywood, Cahuenga to get to work, right?
Mhm.
And they moved here, and they told me they moved here because the homeless was so bad over there
Wow.
and it was better in the valley. And I about laughed with all the things I'm going through with the homeless. I was like, this is better. And
Yeah,
if
and we didn't
people
even
don't
get the
know
metro.
LA, when you live in the valley, you hardly ever go to the over the
Right.
hill. So
Right.
it's been a long time since I went over the hill, like all the way to Hancock Park.
Right.
I couldn't believe it.
And
You
yeah,
know,
for those who are watching, these are all very affluent, very nice areas in Los Angeles that we're discussing, and we didn't get the metro yet, which is impending. That's going to bring in obviously a lot more homelessness, a lot more crime, and the conversation, Angela, between you and I is more like you said about how is this going to affect everyday people. I know you cited a statistic recently. I think you got it from Yelp about 62% of these restaurants.
61%. Yeah.
61%. Yeah, tell
That
us,
was in
please.
September. That was in September before this.
Imagine what that is. I'm sure that number has gone up.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it was something like 1.5 million on unemployment. And that again was before this shutdown. We
Mhm.
have, in our business, this is what I'm trying to bring attention to as far as the restaurant.
The chief freaks. Okay, I think we lost Angela. We're waiting to see if we can get her back because she was mid-sentence. Um, let's see if we can get her back. Yes, I think we are getting Angela back. Angela was about to tell us about 61%. This is a statistic from Yelp, which is an app that reviews businesses, mostly restaurants and cafes and such, that said 61% of the businesses that were closed during the first shutdown would not be opening back up, would not be able to open back up. And that was the point that Angela was trying to make, that imagine what devastation these businesses are now facing after the protests, after the looting, after so many of these businesses were destroyed, and now they will not be able to come back. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. I want to thank Angela for joining us. Hopefully we'll get her back for her final comments. But I hope that you enjoyed this and got as much. Oh, Angela, are you back with us?
I'm back. I'm so sorry. Our computer died.
Oh, no worries. I finished off your point about the businesses not being able to get back up, 61%, as you said, cited by Yelp. And that number obviously getting much, much worse. People not being able to pay their rent, not being able to get back up on their feet. Your reaction?
Yeah. And what I was trying to say is the Independent Restaurant Association showed me the stats on independent restaurants across the country. We employ 1 million single parents, and we are the number one industry for hiring. We hire the most minority managers than any other industry. So if you are a leader or a politician and you're saying that you stand for minorities and you stand
And for women, look at yourself.
for women,
Yes. Amazing.
look at what you're doing. You know?
Right. Right. Well, let's I want to end on a positive note,
Yeah,
and
me too.
you've done such positive work.
Thank you.
I mean, before we get cut off again, I know that you are now so well positioned to really be the voice, even after this pandemic, for people who just want to make a living, who want to fulfill the American dream, and I really hope that you're able to, and I know you will. You're so articulate and so honest and sincere, and it's just such a pleasure to hear you advocate on behalf of your own employees and everyone else's employees. I know you've been able to launch a very successful GoFundMe campaign that has brought in, I think, almost $200,000. Yeah, tell us your next moves, your plans, and how. What are you going to do with this? What you've built?
Well, it's well, honestly, like I'm very conservative, so I'm gonna give a Christmas bonus to my employees. I'm going to open up for to go, even though I lose some money doing that. I'm still opening up now so that they have work, which I'm very, very excited about. We're working on, and I hate to say this because it's a big task, but we're going to decorate the outdoor patio tent, even though we're not fully open. We'll be open for to go. For Christmas, Hanukkah, we're going to include as much of everyone as we can so that people can, the community, and drive by and enjoy that. But
we will. Okay, I'm going to say this here. We will have our holiday party for the Los Angeles staff of the Foreign Desk. We're gonna come to Pineapple.
Well, you have to do to go because legally I can't.
Yeah, we're gonna do to go.
But then you can walk into the back patio.
the Christmas decorations. I'll bring my son. He'll love it. And we'll take it to go. We'll have to come
that'd be nice.
down to the valley, but
be awesome.
We will do that. But please continue.
Yeah, I'm working also, which, by the way, this is actually a great thing that I can you can help me with. I'm putting together a video / photo to make a real statement about how many people we employ. So I've mapped out the size of the tent that the movie production had. And I'm having a girlfriend of mine who designs, she's laid out 6 feet spacing. And I'm calling on bar restaurant owners, even if you're no longer alive, to come out and hold a sign with the name of your place and how many people you employed. And then we're going to do a video of that, just with a tally total, because I was amazed at the protests that I did. There was only 5 of us in the beginning, 5 restaurants, and between 5 of us, we employed 1,000 people.
Wow.
So that's a visual that I really want to get out, but mostly I'm just whatever life, I want to do the right thing. So I don't know where I'm going to be. I think I'll be here running my restaurant in Sherman Oaks. All this will probably die down in a week and I'll be back to being here, which I love. So,
Yes, as long as you're up and running, and then don't have to wait until the new year to do so.
Yeah. I have not yet made the decision. I don't know if you know that Tin Horn Flats in Burbank, they have opened and they're serving, even though we're not supposed to.
Right.
I spoke with them. If anybody goes to Burbank, it's off Magnolia, Tin Horn Flats, please go and support them. Yes. They made that choice because literally they've had the place for 35 years. The son is running it and they had nothing left. And so they said, look, we're going to go down kicking and screaming because we don't have anything to lose.
Right.
I feel like it's a 4-tier thing. I personally called ABC and they're threatening to pull my license permanently and I'll never be able to hold one again. So I'm trying to hold out and do things through legal ways and through getting the message out and trying to put pressure on the politicians. So if anybody's listening, you don't even have to come out to a protest. Write a letter and send it to their offices because there's more than us. There's more people out there and we put them in office and we can get them out, and we just have to believe that and believe your letter or your phone call.
Exactly.
it's like a stone, a ripple. It matters. It matters,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah,
So
I
that's
know
what,
there's a very large recall Newsom movement here in Los Angeles. So
yeah, there is.
before you sign that next petition to recall him, be specific. Be specific about what you want, and that is to support these small businesses, especially around the time of the holidays, and
Yeah.
all these families that they support and you support, which is just tremendous. And I guess the last reminder to people is to get takeout. Really, get
Yeah.
takeout.
You
Support
can
these
get
businesses.
takeout. I'm hoping by the end of the week we'll be open for takeout. Right now we're not, but the goal is this weekend. You can buy a
Great.
gift card. And also, if you want to donate, I don't know how long this will last. So that money, I promise you, will help the restaurant, my staff, and the cause. You know, anything I'm spending is just to help the cause and get the word out. And that's at PH Saloon on Facebook and Pineapple Hill Saloon on Instagram.
Okay,
And
I
send
will.
me letters if you're a bartender, if you're a server, if you're an unemployed, you know, person that worked in retail. I want to hear your stories. I want to hear what you're going through. And if there's anything I can do, I will. And if I can't, these are things I'm going to take and keep putting out so that people know who you are and what's going on, because people care. They
Yeah,
really, really
yeah.
care,
Yes, they
you
do.
know?
And thank you for really being a voice for so many of those people who can't get their voice out, especially at this very difficult time.
Thank you for
Um,
what you're doing. It's
no,
important.
Angela, you're wonderful. Really, more power to you. I will provide
Thank
the
you.
links and the social media handles for all of your accounts so that people know how to reach you, know how to donate if they choose to. And I wish you and your staff happy holidays. Good luck to you all. And thank you so much for
Thank
being
you.
here with
Happy
us.
holidays.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Bye. Thank you all for tuning in. I know that was a very interesting and a compelling conversation that really moves us all to do more to support small businesses. Have a happy Saturday night, happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. We will see you guys all next week again for our regular podcast time. To subscribe to our podcast, go to youtube.com/Lisa Daftari. And to subscribe to our daily top 10 email, go to our website, foreigndesknews.com. Have a wonderful night.